What's up, guys? Welcome back to Libertalia Game Supply. I have a Judgment Spellbook deck profile here for you real quick. It just came off the list. We all just got word within the last hour. I gotta head off to work here in a minute, but I had kind of a general idea of how I would play the deck. And so I threw it together here in a visual format. Figured I'd give it to you, and then you guys can kind of play test and adjust as you see fit, as I probably will in the future. So just a disclaimer there. This is not a well-tested deck or theory. It's just ratios that I would start out with, and then we would adjust from there. So this is a control-based version of the deck. Essentially, you're just going to sit on Jowgin, wipe the board, say no to everything, and just control and chip away with the Star Hall and then attacks from your little guys here. So triple Blue Boy, Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. On summon, he searches a Spellbook spell card from your deck. Just a really good starter, the only Spellbook monster we play. You can't really play the other ones, the other interesting ones like High Priestess or World, because this says no to special summons, so it kind of, they clash too much. It's not really worth it. You'd have to play one or the other, and this one's definitely better. Triple Jowgin. So Jowgin, you can discard one random card from your hand to the graveyard, destroy all special summon monsters in the field, and neither player can special summon monsters. So this is the whole reason the deck functions. You get it on the field, either normal summon, that's why we got 3 of in here, or special summon off of like a tower or a judgment effect if you happen to get those to resolve. But more often than not, you're hard drawing this and then normal summoning it. Also, if you were to special summon it and use its effect, it kills itself. So you want that normal summon. That's why we got 3, also for the desires. Double Ash. Chose double instead of triple just because the Crossout Designator is kind of taking place of Called by the Grave. Honestly, you could probably go Called by plus cutting these 2 and playing something else, but I wanted to have access to my own hand traps, just in case, because this deck doesn't OTK at all. Obviously, it's a control deck, it's a little tiny monster, so you want to have the ability to shut stuff down. So double Ash and double Imperm, and then the Crossout Designator rather than the Call by the Grave, so you only have the ability to shut down these 2, but these 2, Veiler and Droll, are really the only ones you're worrying too much about. Double Spellbook Tower. I like this card a lot. It's like an extra draw every turn. When it's on the field, you can put a Spellbook from your graveyard back to the bottom of your deck and then draw one during your standby phase each turn. So draw phase, you draw one, standby phase, activate tower, draw another one. So it's it speeds up the deck, obviously, when you're trying to hard draw this Jowgin. That is kind of the goal there. And then when it gets destroyed by an opponent's card, you can special summon one spellcaster monster from your hand or deck whose level is less than or equal to the number of Spellbook spell cards in your graveyard. So if you have 3 or more Spellbook spell cards in your graveyard, it can special summon that Jowgin. If you have 2 or more, it can special summon that Blue Boy, which you wouldn't necessarily want to do because then you don't get the effect, but Jowgin. Judgment, the reason we're playing the deck. So during the end phase of the turn this card was activated, add Spellbook spell cards from your deck to your hand, except Judgment up to the number of spell cards activated after this card's resolution. Then you can special summon from your deck one spellcaster monster whose level is less than or equal to the number of cards added to your hand by this effect. Only use 1 per turn. So this thing you can recycle. It just refills your hand. So if you were to open like Blue Boy plus a bunch of your other spellbooks, you can go Blue Boy to search the Judgment, activate the Judgment, then run through all your spellbooks. If you hit 3 or more during the end phase, you get to add 3 or more, however many, new Spellbook spell cards to your hand, and then special summon the Jowgin. So you can pass turn with a full hand, having set up whatever back row you think you might need, hopefully, like a Fate, Judgment, what have you, and then Jowgin to shut everything down, and then pass the turn where they can't special summon. So they could normal summon an attack over the Jowgin, hopefully, or special summon it in defense mode, so it's 1300, so a little bit harder to get over, but it's a good little setup to pass the turn. Triple Secret, searches a Spellbook, adds it to your hand. Triple Library of the Crescent. So this thing is mostly discard fodder after turn 1. During turn 1, once you activate it, you can only activate it while there's no Spellbook spell cards in your graveyard. Reveal 3 Spellbooks in your deck with different names. Your opponent picks one, adds it to your hand. The rest get put back into the deck. So it's just a quick search, and then the rest are discard fodder for knowledge. Spellbook of Fate, this is one of your other big control cards. We got 3 of them, so you can banish 1, 2, or 3 spellbooks from your graveyard to activate an effect. If you banish 1, it bounces a spell or trap on the field. If you banish 2, change monster face down defense position or face up attack position. And if you banish 3, banish a card your opponent controls. So it's removal. It clears the board a little bit. It does a whole lot of stuff. It's kind of a heavy cost. The banish 3 is for the best effect, so you're usually not going to be able to use that banish 3 effect like super often. But it's a good little control card there. Double Star Hall. So this is part of your win con here, unless you want to spend 10 turns attacking with 500 and 200 attack points here. So each time a Spellbook spell card is activated, place 1 spell counter on this card. All spellcaster type monsters you control gain 100 attack for each spell counter on this card. When this card with spell counter is sent to the graveyard, you can add a spellcaster from your deck to your hand whose levels less than or equal to the number of spell counters that were on this card. So they stack. That's why we play 2 of them. You could even play 3, but 3 is probably too much because it's a pretty slow effect otherwise. When it's on the field while you're activating your spell cards, it gains counters. For every counter on it, your spellcasters gain 100. So you would really, if you get this in your hand turn 1, like say you were going to do the Blue Boy into Judgment play, you're probably... I would probably still activate the second. So you would go Blue Boy, search Judgment, activate Judgment, then activate Star Hall. Then every Spellbook card you activate from there on, you're gaining 100 attack for each. If you get 2 on the board, you're gaining 200 attack for each. If they get popped and end up in the graveyard, you can search that Jowgen. So that kind of navigates around that special summon problem where it would kill itself. It's just there aren't really many reliable ways in your own deck to actually pop this thing, so it would just be like by happenstance if your opponent cleared it. 1 Wisdom. You can target a spellcaster, choose one of the effects. It's either not affected by other spell cards or are not affected by trap cards. So this one, it's mostly to protect from traps. I guess you could use it to protect from spells if there's a very particular, like Regeki or something that nobody plays. But it will shut off the Star Hall. Not that you're putting like big bodies on board, but you wouldn't want to Wisdom your something if you're going to attack with it later, or if you're worried of it getting attacked over. But just 1's good. It's just a little preemptive stuff. 1 Eternity. I suppose if I were to cut the Wisdom, I'd play the 2nd Eternity. Maybe even find a way to fit the 2nd Eternity in there just because Fate banishes. The reason there's only 1 right now is because there is no... This is the only effect in the deck that banishes cards for, life, that banish cards for their effects. And so, being able to get them back, it's relevant, but like you can search and recycle this thing with the tower, with this. So 1's good, maybe 2. Triple Knowledge is your draw power. Send to the graveyard either 1 spellcaster you control or 1 other spellbook card from your hand or face-up field, except Spellbook of Knowledge. If you do, draw 2 cards. So this thing's really nice to copy with Master. It's really nice to get your draws going. It's really nice to get more bodies for Judgment's effect to activate. A really good 3-of. Master copies a spellbook out of your graveyard. So essentially, only activate it if you have a spellcaster. Reveal 1 other spellbook card in your hand. Target a spellbook normal spell card in your graveyard, except Master. This card becomes that card's effect. You can only activate 1 per turn. So really, like if you're under Judgment or you're trying to pump up your Star Hall, you can go Secrets, activate Secrets, grab Master, activate Master, target Secrets, Secrets search, whatever, and then if your whatever is a 3rd card you can activate, you've just activated 3 spellbooks, which would then net you the Jowgen. It would put your 3 counters on this. So yeah, Spellbook of Life. It's like a monster board. Banish 1 spellcaster type monster from your graveyard and reveal 1 other spellbook spell card in your hand. Target a spellcast monster in your graveyard. Special summon that target in face-up attack position. Equip it with this card. Equip monster's level is increased by the level of the monster that was banished for this card's activation. The level thing doesn't matter because it doesn't matter. It's just to pull your Jowgen back from the graveyard, essentially. Power pumps a monster, spellbook monster, or a spellcaster monster you control by 1,000 attack, and then each time that monster destroys something by battle this turn, you get to add a spellbook spell card from your deck to your hand. So this kind of would go in the same category as Star Hall. It's just if you got to attack over something big, plus it adds counters to Star Hall. So really, I'd say plus 1,100 under Star Hall, plus you get to search if you kill something. You only get to search 1. There's not really a way for you to attack multiple times with these, but really good card. Secret Village of the Spellcasters. This is just another lockdown card, so you would activate it after you've got one of these available to you to summon, or already on the field. Activate it. Your opponent can't activate spell cards unless they have a spellcaster monster. And then if they were to clear your board of spellcasters, you also cannot activate spells. So play it carefully. You only play it when you have access to that lockdown. But it's a really good shutdown card. Double Desires, this is why a lot of this stuff is at 3, is because I want to be able to play the Desires for the draw power, just because you really need to get to this. It will suck if you banish the Judgment, because that's kind of the fun part of playing the deck, but the deck still functions otherwise. One Terraforming searches the tower and searches the Secret Village, and then the one Crossout Designator that I kind of explained already is taking the place of the Called by the Grave, because I wanted to be able to play the hand traps, and it just made sense to me to... I mean, you could just not use this and play the Called by the Grave. At that point, I would probably not play this and just play a third one of these. But I wanted to play it because it just got reprinted in the Megatins, so that's how I make decisions. Double Imperm and Double Judgment. I already explained the Imperm, you know what it does. Judgment's just like the most powerful control card, powerful back row card in the game, in my opinion. One of the most, I'll say, because it's not really a floodgate, but it just says no to everything at the cost of half your life points, so it's always live. Good card. Extra deck, don't even like it, don't want to play it. I guess you can play it. We'll run through it quick. Shining Elf, Double Centauria, Downer Magician Zeus, Link Karibo, IP Masquerena, Magistus, Maiden Artemis, Double Prophecy Link, Nightmare Unicorn, Phoenix, and Cerberus, Selene, and Access Code, because you can. I prefer playing the deck kind of the old school way, so I like sitting on the Jowgen and just like beating over little by little with the Jowgen. This extra deck probably could use a good amount of work, and I would fix that up for sure. I would say if you were going to start playtesting this deck and start making adjustments, the biggest place I think you could improve upon this is finding ways to make the extra deck an actual useful resource versus just being a bunch of monsters that you can make but probably won't thrown in there. But that was a quick one. I gotta get going, I gotta get out of here. Thank you guys for checking this deck profile out. If you liked it, if you got suggestions, leave them down below, leave those comments down below. If you want to see more deck profiles in the future, I'm uploading at least one every single week. Please hit that subscribe so you can stay up to date with what I got going on. Until next time, I hope you guys have a great week.